I'm about to ruin my best friend's life, and I don't feel remorse.
Plus, update.
My soon-to-be ex-best friend and I have been friends since middle school. We know everything about each other. Our families are basically one big family now. You get the idea. Like I said, we tell each other everything. Recently, she came to me, telling me she's been having an affair for about 4 months with her superior at her new job. She started about a year ago. She didn't tell me out of guilt but to brag about the dream vacation she's going on with her affair partner, disguised as a work trip. She even asked me to cover for her if her husband asks if we've been in contact, since she's planning on going off the grid for that week so he won't find out. Side note, we've both known her husband since high school. They are high school sweethearts, so they've been together for almost 15 years. Her husband is one of the most honest, hardworking, and genuine people I know. He, of course, took everything she said about working late and the business trip at face value because he trusts her more than he trusts himself. I told her I wouldn't be covering for her and that she needed to get out of my house because I couldn't even look at her. Later, I told my husband everything that happened, and he was just as shocked and disgusted. Her husband is basically his best friend now, so he naturally feels a lot of loyalty to him as well. My husband pointed out something I hadn't even thought of: our security camera. It caught everything. We plan on going to her husband tonight with the proof. It will be up to him to decide what to do, but he deserves to know. Secondly, we're taking this to her job. As far as I know, fraternization of any kind is prohibited at her workplace. She was also promoted once by this same supervisor, so this could easily be seen as favoritism. Our guess is that they will both be fired. Lastly, I'm going to send a snippet of her admitting to the affair to all of her family, including mine. As I said, our families are very intertwined, so I'll have no trouble contacting the majority of her relatives. I'm not going to give her a chance to twist this against me or her husband. Some may think this is harsh, but I wholeheartedly disagree with what she's doing. Update. Apologies for not having time last night. We were obviously busy. People involved: ex-bestie Alyssa, bestie's husband Noah. I took a lot of people's advice and decided not to go nuclear. As many pointed out, at the end of the day, it's not my circus. The decision should be left to the wrong party, which is Noah. I also chose to reach out to Alyssa before telling Noah, giving her a chance to confess on her own. After talking to her, I even considered contacting her parents for medical help, because she seemed so unbothered and non-remorseful about the affair that I thought she might be experiencing some sort of mental break or psychosis. Alyssa has always been the type to find loopholes or shortcuts, but cheating on her spouse of nearly 2 decades for financial gain? That's not normal. If you missed my small update, the whole reason Alyssa started the affair was to get a promotion at work, though it eventually turned into an emotional affair. She admitted that her new friends from some so-called feminism forums and Facebook groups had convinced her she wasn't as valuable if she made significantly less than her spouse, something she'd been more insecure about than she let on. They also told her that using a man wasn't cheating as long as there was no emotional attachment, she was just being a girl boss. Alyssa admitted she couldn't separate her feelings from the physical side and started going on regular dates and vacations with him. Eventually, they began calling each other boyfriend and girlfriend. Her affair partner knows she's married but was told they were on the verge of separation. My husband and I arrived at Noah and Alyssa's with some booze and dinner, but by the time we got there, Noah had already gone through a bottle of wine. Surprisingly, Alyssa did confess to Noah about the affair, though he said it was extremely non-apologetic. She sat him down and told him she wasn't going on a business trip this week but on a vacation with her boyfriend. Noah, being the clueless and loyal guy he is, thought she meant to say husband and got excited. He even asked if they were going to Italy, as they had planned. Alyssa just stared at him and repeated, "with my boyfriend." It took him a few minutes, but it finally sunk in. He told us that things got pretty ugly after that. He embarrassingly got on his knees and begged her to fix things. She yelled at him for a bit, then just stonewalled him. She was already packed and left him there sobbing. She turned off her location, which both Noah and I were connected to on the family app, and we have no idea where she went. We assume she's at her affair partner's place, because if she'd gone home with 2 suitcases, her mother would have reached out to Noah immediately. She sees him as a son. We sat down with Noah and told him we had video and audio proof of Alyssa admitting and explaining the affair, and we'd send it to him if he needed it. I explained to him that, in a moment of blind rage, I had planned to go scorched earth and tell everyone, but after calming down and thinking rationally, I realized that wasn't the right move. Going full nuclear would only hurt him, because Alyssa clearly doesn't care anymore. As I suspected, reconciliation is still on his mind, but he doesn't think it's possible. To reconcile, both parties have to admit fault and want to reconcile, but Alyssa clearly doesn't. We've gotten him in touch with a friend of my husband's, who's agreed to help him pro bono until the divorce process progresses. I can tell Noah's still hesitant about moving forward with the divorce, but he knows he can't force Alyssa to stay. As many comments suggested, this is where we step back. We'll continue to support Noah, but it's his situation to handle, not ours. If there are any future updates, I'll ask Noah first, but you'll be the second to know. Thanks for being so supportive and helpful. It made me realize that how Noah handles his life and his marriage is his responsibility, not mine. Wanted to clear up some questions from the last post that I didn't address in the update. What did Alyssa ever do to make you want to go nuclear? Honestly, nothing in particular. Like I said, for the past few years, our friendship has been one of convenience at best. We've stayed friends because we know each other so well, and at least we each have one friend. Alyssa has always had qualities I didn't agree with, but who doesn't? I think it was the whole situation that made my blood boil, especially since Alyssa has always been disgusted by cheaters. She was the type to cut people out of her life if it meant not supporting infidelity, so for her to do a complete 180 and show no guilt, it just grinds my gears. That's part of why I think she's having some sort of mental breakdown. It's not just hypocritical, it's extremely out of character, even for her. Are you in love with Noah? Of course not. Praising someone and acknowledging they're a good person doesn't mean you want to sleep with them. Our relationship has always been strictly platonic because Noah loved Alyssa, and I love their happiness. I love my husband and have always seen Noah as a brother. Logic, people.